Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next is Chris Walker, Black Chamber of Commerce. Or is it Gloria Wright?
Chris Walker.
Okay,
First of all, I'd like to say good afternoon and thank each and every person involved that helped have the chamber acquire, Black Chamber acquire these funds. As of today, we have received our first two installments. We have deposited those, and as of now, we have not used any of the funds because we were just able to secure them Friday. So what we are planning to do is to open a totally separate account. That way, that if any questions or any any concerns, that we will have this deposited in a separate account. It will be transparent to anybody that have any questions of any type of the expenditures that are made by the Black Chamber. But as of today, we have not spent anything, and we are in the early stages of getting everything lined out and everything budgeted for to move forward.
okay. Appreciate that, Chris. And also, as you're putting all that together, if you need some assistance, don't hesitate to call me, or me and another board member will come sit down with you and go over any questions or anything that you need to assist you in getting that put together. And we're glad that to have you part of our program. Are there any questions?
I just have one. Has the Small Business Development Center reached out to y'all yet, Chris?
Not as of yet, Mr. Collins.
Okay, I think in the last meeting, they were going to try and expand their reach into some of these areas that have been kind of neglected, and they promised us that they would reach out, and we'll just follow up on that.
Yeah, we were looking forward to that, and I never heard myself or our administrative assistant. We haven't heard anything from anyone. So yeah, we're still looking forward to hearing that.
This is Tyler. I just need the contact information, and we can have a meeting anytime you want to.
Okay, yeah, we can get that to you, no problem.
All right, awesome.
Okay, and Gene, if you don't mind, this before our next meeting, let's you and I try to have lunch with Tyler and Chris and make sure that we get everybody on the same page and help them and assist in that since we were late getting them their money. So we'll go forward with that if that's all right with you.
That's fine if you're going to pay for lunch.
I'll buy lunch.
Okay.
I'll bring Wes to buy lunch. Okay. Hispanic Chamber. Any other questions for Chris? If not, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, is it Serena?
No, this is going to be Paul Garza today. I just started as the CEO this week.
Okay.
Yeah, just quick update. I did speak to Tyler today at the SBDC. Like I said, this is my first week, so I'm trying to get my feet under me. He just sent me over a list of events that we're going to plan to co-sponsor with him using the ODC funds so that we can kind of use a little bit of the marketing efforts on our part to reach, our community with these business development programs that the SBDC has put together. I had a really good conversation with Tyler about that. So we're also planning on holding a few of these SBDC events in Spanish specifically, so that we can reach some of that market that maybe does not feel comfortable, learning in English if they're, English is their second language. So there's quite a bit of efforts that we're still working on our side, but I'm excited to kind of step in and start taking over this. So,
okay. Paul, if you don't mind, if you'll share the contact information with, I guess probably the best with Norma, with the city, so we can get all the information. If you just now took over, so we know how to contact you. Communication has been an issue here in the past, but we want to clarify that immediately. And if you'll do that, and we welcome you to the program.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll reach out to Norma and get that out as soon as possible.
Okay, and Norma, if you'll pass it on to our board, appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay.
Paul, this is David Boutan. Could you give us just a real quick understanding of what your background is and how you came to the Hispanic Chamber?
Sure. So I was originally on the chamber board for the past 2 years, and decided to attempt to take this up. Before this, I still have a freelance marketing agency that I do. I've been doing that for about 6 years. That's been going very well. I also am the executive director for an organization called Tall City Performing Arts, where we host events for over 150 kids every summer. And most of it's just going on tour with these students over the year. We have an operating budget there of over $500,000 every year. So I've got experience in the nonprofit world and organizing events, much of which like the Odessa Hispanic Chamber of Commerce needs to be doing.
Great. Thank you very much and welcome.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, Tyler from UTPB.
Good afternoon. I'll just go over some highlights on the report that you have, and then talk a little bit about kind of where we stand today. For the month of December, we did total capitalization of 1.383 million. A little over 400,000 of that is in Odessa. 5 new businesses were started. Among those was a homeschooling resource center, a company that is going to be importing masks and other type of material like that is in demand these days, a delivery app, and a trampoline park. So those are just some of the businesses in the area that have filed paperwork and started this in the month of December. Total of 23 new FTEs were accounted for. We put on 3 seminars before the Christmas break with 33 attendees. As you can see, as we got closer to the holidays, the attendance started to wane a bit from what it has been averaging. Counseling sessions. We had 324 counseling sessions for the month of December. Just to give you an idea, because this really doesn't tell the story, that's 117% increase over December of 2019. So that's a substantial increase. Some of that is because of the CARES Act and PPP, EIDL, those kind of things. But even when I back them off, just apples to apples, it's a 76% increase year over year. Our number of seminars year to date, we've increased by 133%. So we're still doing seminars via Zoom. I would love to be able to get back to the point where we're able to see people in person, hopefully with the vaccine that's coming sooner than later, hopefully. But there has been upside to doing the Zoom stuff. Primarily, it gives us more flexibility because we're not fighting for space here at the university. So we can do it pretty much any time of day. And it gets people have found that it's easier for them to attend. So our number of attendees since the pandemic started is averaging about 17.4 people per seminar, per workshop. That's up from about 11 pre-pandemic. So that's kind of an interesting change. And I think we'll probably keep, even after this is all over, thank goodness, but we'll probably keep some element of Zoom workshops going. It just is much easier for the clients to attend. As you might imagine, right now we're deep into PPP 2, both the first draw for those who did not take advantage of it the last time it was open, and now the second draw. So we're working with a lot of clients on both of those issues. So the phone and the emails are ringing off the hook and binging off the hook. So it's very busy, but it is certainly fulfilling to be able to help people in need, especially right now. Any questions?
Tyler, are you helping with the application for the CARES Act 2 to businesses that call in? You said you were helping out.
Yes, we cannot fill out the application for them, but we can give them direction on filling it out. And that's what we've been doing all along.
Are you doing that in your seminars or call by call?
Yes, yes. Yeah, we have, actually, I can thank you for bringing that up. Some of the seminars we have coming up the rest of this month and the first part of February is a financial projection seminar, government contracting seminar, and then PPP, the second round. The application has been simplified tremendously from where it started. I'm going way back. But people do still require some assistance just on clarifying. You know, they have to show down 25% in a specific quarter. So how do they need to document that? And then what payroll period do they use? Things like that. We can help them with that.
And how are you advertising that to the public here in Odessa?
To the degree we're allowed to. I mean, we're doing it all on social media, boosting stuff, Facebook ads, and then constant contact. Most of our clients come from lenders. About 60% of our clients come from lenders and EDCs. So that continues.
Okay. Thanks.
Mr. Collins, I'll just add to what Tyler's saying. We're getting a lot of emails from American Small Business Development Centers, Tyler's group, that's advertising that program and the information. And we have webinars scheduled here at the chamber next week about the program, along with Tyler and his office doing some work together. So there's a lot of information out there. I think it's just a matter of getting it out. And I know your concern is making sure everybody knows about the program, first of all, and how to get the PPP and all that. So hopefully we can assist in it anyway. And Tyler and I communicate pretty regularly. So I think we'll be okay.
Okay. Thanks, Wes.
Any other questions for Tyler? Okay, we need to go to Motran.
Good afternoon. Y'all have our, those are our monthly financials, and then our audit was completed by Weaver, and all things are good there. We also sent a copy of our annual report, and in that you'll find some of our new members changing over our chairman, as well as a large portion of it is dedicated to that Permian Basin freight study that I've probably cited more times than y'all care to hear. Again, 30% of statewide traffic comes through the Permian Basin. As far as freight goes, freight traffic, 30% of oversized overweight vehicles, and all those other numbers that we will be using this legislative session to advocate for road issues. Those are really our big two. And then, and I don't want to bore y'all because there's a whole lot of documents there. And then the other thing was, Mr. Boutan, you had asked us about an update on the leveraging projects. And so we have been in talks with TxDOT, getting access to all that information to list the financial impact of the leveraging program. And what we could say is TxDOT's working on that for us and getting all that information, but really due to the sheer volume of the projects going on, they're kind of having to weed through and find it all. But what we can tell you is most of the projects were listed. Those loop projects were listed after 2030, and some of them were even after 2040, and all of those projects have been bumped up considerably. But they are still a little ways off, and so finding those exact let dates and when plant construction is set to be is still something that they're working on aggregating for us. Something else that is of note is that we were not directly involved in the discussions. That was a city-led operation as far as actually picking where the money was spent. It was something that we had worked on as far as the idea for it and kind of along that front, but as far as the actual allocations, that was a city-led project, and Motran was not present during those discussions. With that being said, the past few weeks we have been in contact with Mayor Hoven and the new city council members. about the leveraging project and about some of the money that is left. And what I can say is there is some enthusiasm there, and there is some interest in the expediting of the loop and some of those projects, and that is something that they are hearing is a concern, and that is one of their main focuses. And they are wanting to talk and use this as a resource, and we are very open and willing to do so to advocate for those projects and host those meetings with TxDOT to satisfy their means and see where we can bump up these projects even more and get some overpasses going.
Okay. Any questions for Motran?
Mr. Chairman,
Mm-hmm.
it's Gene. Would it be unethical for us to have an ODC sign around the projects that we have spent over $10 million on? So people other than the people on this call will know that we had a part in it.
Well, probably Robert, when I'll defer to you if you're on, I think you're on the deal. We need to check into that. I think there should be, I hear what you're saying, because I mean, we've got that soil project over on 8th Street. That'd be a nice place to plant one to and get some more exposure for us for the things we are doing.
Well, when I'm talking about those highway projects that we set aside that money for, and there's several of them going on around town right now, but I don't think anybody knows that we put a penny in them.
Okay.
Except those on the call today.
I've been advised that no, we cannot.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'll put my own little sign up there.
Yeah.
There you go. We
financed this construction project.
Well, I do know that it's come out in media about the leveraging on Loop 250 by MDC, as well as our North Loop project, that there was some funds by the city that were allocated. But as far as signage, that's a no.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions for Motran? Seeing none, we'll move to the next item. Cindy Muncie with our financials.
Good afternoon. Wes, if you'll scroll down a little bit, thank you. The balance sheet as of November 2020, total assets at 58.1 million. We've got our total reserved fund balance at almost 15 million. Our assigned amount still with TxDOT, speaking of those projects, 9.1 million. Our workforce housing infrastructure assigned amount still at 4.9. So we have an unreserved fund balance at the end of November of almost $29 million. On the next page, there was little change in expenditures for the month of November. Most of the quarterly payments went out the first part of October. You can see our sales tax cumulative to date is $1.65 million. I will tell you that our January sales tax was just under 700,000. So we were down about 70,000 from the December month, and we were down probably about, 15,000 from our budgeted amount. So we were a little under for January. So hopefully that will turn around some. So year to date for the 2 months, we've got excess revenues over expenditures of a little over $1 million. The next page shows your reserves. There was no change in those for the month. And then you'll go on through the investment detail. We are still struggling to try to find some investments out there that have any interest to go along with them. We've got quite a bit of money in our pools. So we will be looking for something there. And that's all I have, unless you have any questions for me.
Any questions on the financials? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Cindy.
You're welcome.
Item number 5, we have been asked to table this item. Apparently the official report from Weaver has not been received, so we need to table that item. Is that still correct, Robert?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Okay. So that moves down to item 6, consider the resolution approving the second incentive payment to Glazers Beer and Beverage. Robert, take this.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me. So this is going to be the second incentive payment to Glazers Beer and Beverage. For those who would like the information, Glazers signed an economic development agreement August 31st, 2017. They received their first payment in 2019 because of the August 31st, 2017 effective date. It sort of pushes everything back, and then getting all Glazers paperwork in has been a little bit of a task for Weaver. But we did get a report from them, and that report, I believe, was sent to you earlier this week. And they had already met their $12 million in investment, and their total FTEs as of this past audit is 131, which is actually 21 over what they were required. Their contract says 110 FTEs. They're currently at 131 full-time equivalent jobs. So they have met all of their requirements under the economic development agreement. And this would be another payment of $226,998.20.
Okay. Any questions for Robert on that? Before we make a motion to accept that, I do need a motion to accept our financial report as reported.
So moved.
I got a motion. And I need a second. Have we lost Melanie and?
Second. I was
Second,
trying to
okay.
unmute, sorry.
I got a motion and a second on approving the financials. All signal by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. It passes. Then I need a motion to approve the Glazers Beer and Beverage resolution.
There's only 2 other board members on here. Mr. Boutin had to exit for a
Oh, okay.
meeting. Another meeting.
Okay, so I got a motion by Melanie. I need a second.
Second.
Okay. Need to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign, and it shall pass. Wesley, that brings us down to the Odessa College Economic Development Agreement with Odessa College for the new health science buildings, and I understand it's Dr. Williams on.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Dr. Williams, I think you wanted to make a statement or speak on behalf of this resolution.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. How are you?
Thank you.
How are you all doing today?
Good.
Thank you for considering us and for considering this project from Odessa College. We are very appreciative. I want to give you a little bit of background, and I thank Wes for his partnership and everything he's done, Tim, you and the board. We are also want to provide you all with as many signs as you want on the projects that you do with us. So keep that in mind. We have your signs, and we're here to support you with that in any way,
Well,
especially
thanks.
with the $10 million mark that you may deserve a sign with that 10 million when it's legal, and I do get that. We're proposing and we appreciate the work of the compliance committee. We spoke to them in July when we were in the midst of kicking off this project. We think it's one of the most impactful healthcare projects in the history of the Permian Basin. We're about to construct a $40 million facility in the center of our campus, facing university, 4-story building. Highly impactful. A number of people are excited about it. it will transform the number of individuals we're able to educate/train for the healthcare workforce. It will allow us to use simulation labs and a number of other components that allow us to use technology to really ramp up what we're doing. We're doing this in partnership with the local hospitals. They're really excited about the work, and it's going to be big. It's going to be huge. But since we spoke to that, and again, we acknowledge, we understand what the economy is doing. We understand what the future looks like. I asked Wes, with all due respect, if I could speak to this group. We asked originally for $18 million to be a part of this project. Would have been slightly less than half of the project. We're coming in at a little, you guys are, the compliance committee is recommending that you come in at a little over 10% of the project, I believe. And again, very much appreciated. But if you all did want to think about some other options, we wanted to address that. Odessa College does not receive TRB funds or tuition revenue funds from bonds from the state like universities can and do. So we have to count on you, our community, our citizens, to help us with new facilities. Our campus is bursting at the seams. We do not have the technology that we need currently to educate people for the modern day healthcare careers. This moves us forward, puts us in that place. So again, if you want to discuss being able to do a little more, we'd appreciate that. Again, we'll be respectful and thankful for whatever you do with this project. We thank you for what you did with Sewell. Every other project that you've done with us, we're appreciative. One more thing, I'll remind you that Odessa College broke 7,000 students in terms of enrollments in the fall. That was the largest fall enrollment in the history of our institution. We're one of the largest higher ed institutions in West Texas. And we were, I think, the only community college that had growth in the middle of this pandemic. So Odessa is doing something right. Odessa College is doing something right. We would not be where we are without your partnership. As Wes pointed out, we're all on the same team. So we're coming to you, letting you know what we need to continue to provide high quality educational services for this community. You're one of our best partners. And we want, first of all, thank you. And then secondly, allow us please to answer any questions that you might have about this project.
Okay. Any questions for Dr. Williams or comments? Gene, I'll go to you first. We're down to 3 of our board members on here, Dr. Williams, and I'd like to, I understand where you're coming from, but we also have our compliance department or committee that does their due diligence and everything. And I respect that the amount that they've come back with. I would, if it's all right, make sure I don't do something Robert doesn't want me to do, but I'd like to get a couple of our board members to meet with you, Dr. Williams, and talk about the other expense. And I don't want to go against my compliance committee. I'd like to go ahead and vote on this and then see if there's a way we can come back around at a later date or we can amend this. But I'd like to have Gene, if you have any comments, and Melanie, if you have any comments about that before we.
Hey, Mr. Edgman, so you can vote, it would just, when the motion comes up, you'll have to vote that you approve this resolution, but with the amendments there. If we don't think that we can amend it later, we would need to table it. What I mean by that is if we don't have the amendment ready, so if someone doesn't say, I motion to approve this resolution with the following amendments, then we're not ready to vote on this, and therefore we should table it.
Okay, so we can't vote on this and come back and add to it. That's what you're telling me. Is that correct?
Not unless you're ready to add to it now in a motion and Melanie and Jean agree.
Okay.
I'm pretty comfortable with what the compliance committee has recommended. $18 million is a very, very large ask, particularly during a time when our income is shrunk a great deal as a result of the pandemic. We cannot we asked the compliance committee for one thing to look at our reserves and talk to us about ratios and what we needed to keep free and what we felt comfortable committing. And I think they took all of that into consideration when making this recommendation.
Okay.
And Jim, for clarification, we understand that you can't do 18 million. So I'm not here asking you to do 18 million at this point. We do get that.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Tim, my only concern is I wish that maybe the chairman of the compliance committee could share the roadmap to getting to that number with us. Because right now it seems like, especially as uninformed as I am about what the deliberation was, we're just pulling out figures. It may be, I think I'm kind of like you, it may be something we want to look at and maybe add to. Is there a timeline for construction to start? Are we really pushed? If we had another month to, like Tim said, look at it, would that put you behind schedule, Dr. Williams?
No, sir, Mr. Collins, it would not put us behind at all. We're good there.
Mr. Collins, let me address the compliance committee side. Jefferson Cox is chair of that, and he is quarantined. He's at home, and he is not feeling good today. So he did text me and say he had every intention to be here to do a little bit more explanation. The compliance committee did look at this very detailed. In fact, we had Dr. Williams and his staff on in the meeting once, maybe both times, I can't remember, but we did go into quite a lot of detail, and they did do a lot of soul searching, if you will, on this, and I really felt like they did review it. Like I said, Mr. Cox had every intention of being here, but he's sick. The committee felt like this number was good, and again, as y'all know, these are recommendations to the board for y'all's consideration, so y'all are more than welcome to take these however you want and move them along or move them back or ask for more information to do that. So I just want to make sure there's not an issue with the compliance committee on this.
And Mr. Chair, if I can speak, I did reach out to Wes to request his permission to do what I'm doing today, because I did not want to put anyone in a tough spot. And we do appreciate the work of the compliance committee, but I wanted to ask him if there was any wiggle room. And again, with all due respect, we will appreciate whatever you give us. Again, this is a large project, and we wanted to make sure that everything was considered. So that was my approach. Thank you.
If I could interject, this is Robert. I apologize for interrupting.
Right.
But we do have a little bit of wiggle room as far as if this is approved. We have amended agreements later to allow more money. There's just going to be more, there will be more strings attached as far as it will be extended a certain number of years farther. We've done that with the food bank. We've done that with several other organizations who maybe did not reach compliance, or they had reached a certain investment, but not a certain job requirement. We do have the ability to amend that agreement. So if this is approved, or it's approved at a later date, but OC feels like they need more money, or they're going to ask later, and because they know it's a big ask in a tough economic time, we do have that ability to amend the agreement as well, just for everybody's information.
Okay.
I think at this time I'll move that we accept the recommendation by compliance and move forward with the contract, with the idea that at a later date, if we wish to amend it, we can.
Okay. Can I get a second on that?
Second.
Okay.
With
Any more discussion before we vote? I just feel like that might be the best way, because we're missing two of our members, and Chris was one that's on the committee, the compliance committee, and he's not able to be with us today. So on that second, do you have anything you wanted to add, Gene, before we take it to a vote?
Well, I'm just, I wish we could have interfaced with the compliance committee, since we have the figures given by the president and different figures there, and see where their thinking was. Not that we would necessarily dispute their decision, but I'd like to know how they came to it. That's all. So
Okay.
I think I can go with the motion, realizing that we have an opportunity to look at it again.
Okay. I've got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Hi.
And anything, the same sign for no. It passes. And Dr. Williams, we'll be looking forward to talk to you some more.
Perfect. Thank you. I will not lift a a gift, 5 million, or an invested 5 million in the mouth. We appreciate that, but we are willing to come back and talk to you more. Again, we're thankful. We're on the same team. We're all trying to make Odessa better. So we appreciate your work. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Thank you.
Okay. That moves us down, Wesley, to the next item for resolution on Ellen Knoll Art Museum. And I believe Mr. Dick Civils, are you on? And someone else with you that would like to speak on that behalf before we discuss?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, let me just go ahead and tell you that the Compliance Committee did look at this very in depth as well. We took 2 meetings at least to look over the information. It was very detailed. I hope you all had a chance. I know I sent the information to the board to look at it on both these projects, but specifically this one. I know Austin Keith, who's typically the chair of this effort, he is quarantined as well. But I want to let you know that the Compliance Committee was asked for $1 million for this particular program. They came back with a recommendation of $600,000 for this effort. I know that Sheila, the director of the museum, is here, as well as Mr. Civils, looks like sitting there in the office. They can probably answer any of your questions, but do know in both of these cases, and this one especially, they did spend a lot of time and had a lot of questions and did interact with the principals involved in the project. So I hope you have confidence in their due diligence on these projects, and their recommendations are, like I said before, recommendations to you for you all to consider and take as you wish to move on or up or make adjustments to. So I'll allow you to run your meeting again. I apologize for taking over there.
No, that's fine. Does Mr. Civils, do y'all have any comments to make?
We've been working hard on this. We're trying to a 35-year-old facility here that is wearing out, and instead of building one from start, which would be $50-60 million, we've had the architects work on it and come up with a beautiful plan, we think, to affect the outside appearance as well as add some space inside and reuse space. For $12 million, we can get you a $55 million looking facility sitting on University Boulevard in front of the Wagner, or the University of Permian Basin. And we're trying to get $12 million to do this project, and we sincerely appreciate your time and effort. And we're trying to get a lot of sources, but we really need the $1 million we asked for to make this project go forward and reach its completion.
First of all, thank you for even entertaining our ask. We really do appreciate it. Museums kind of inhabit a unique space in the world. We are educational organizations, we're entertainment organizations. We help people in terms of, life celebration type of organizations. We fit a very niche space within a community. And I just wanted to point out that, in Odessa, we have some beautiful cultural organizations. The Wagner Noel, the Permian Playhouse, we have many cultural organizations. Most of them are smaller than the Ellen Noel Art Museum. We are the only cultural organization in our community that is open over 2,000 hours a year to the public. That's over 300 days of the year. We are the only one that are open that many days of the year. Whether it be, you look at the Wagner Noel, they do wonderful stuff out of there, but they are dark most of the year. The Ellen Noel is the one place where a tourist that comes to town, or a prospective candidate for somebody's company that comes to town and is checking out what is in the community for them, we're the only one that they're guaranteed to walk up to the door and open it up and be able to come in. And we do it every day free of charge to the public. And so we have, we serve many hats in our community. One of the things that we're trying to do with this new edition is we understand that, the nature of philanthropy and the nature of volunteerism in our community is changing. And it's not just changing for our not-for-profit, it's changing for all not-for-profits. So one of the main impetuses for us to want to add on to the building is to have a designated space that will be a revenue generation stream for the museum going forward, and to guarantee our sustainability into the future. But it also will, because we are not going to be into the catering business and we're not going to be getting into the alcohol provision business, we're also going to be able to, support other small local not-for-profits through those types of, experiences and events here at the museum. But also, we've also thought about, okay, what about our other cultural partners in Odessa? And yes, they are working at a smaller scale than we are. So also what we've put into this plan is a way for us to reconfigure the space that we have so that we would be able to support, cultural production from the Permian Playhouse, from the West Texas Jazz Society. Odessa does not have a performance space that sits about 100 people. We could provide that. It will allow us to partner with many more cultural organizations in our community and have a unique offering here in Odessa. So not only would we be, continuing expanding the educational programming that we do with ECISD, we are in every grade 2 classroom, every grade 3 student comes here. We also are the one place where there's really proactive pre-K programming on a daily basis. And so we have an educational mandate that we fulfill. We have an entertainment and leisure mandate that we fill. We have a place by which and we also will support small business, and we'll also support the new convention center downtown. If you go to a convention nowadays, 9 times out of 10, at least one major event of that convention is outside of the convention center, and 9 times out of 10 is at a museum or a zoo. So while we are small, and yes, while we will not be directly adding 50 jobs, I conservatively put forth the number of jobs that we plan to add. And those are solid jobs. I did not pad these numbers at all. I would just like to point out that we support our community in a myriad of ways that are sometimes intangible and often hard to quantify. And so we appreciate all that OCD is doing for us. But we would say that if you would think about maybe getting us up to the $1 million mark, we'll give you a permanent sign in one of the galleries here at the museum, and you can have your name on the wall in perpetuity, and you don't have to worry about putting up a sign. We'll do it just for you. So anyways, I just want to, again, thank you so much for, supporting us in this project. We really appreciate it. We are at the center of our cultural community, and we're going to continue to be so. And we appreciate all of the support that you guys are giving us. And yeah, thank you very much for your consideration. We really do appreciate it.
Okay, thank you for your comments. I see, Gene, you've already unmuted. You've started this sign situation for us, but I think they know how to hit the right buttons with you.
Well, let me say this. I love museums. I've done projects there at the Ellen Noel. I've attended all types of seminars. I even sung there when the Russian icons were in town, and certainly I'm sold on it. But I had a question. That's why I wish we could go back to the compliance committee. Were there any other categories considered that the ODC funds from, and even talked about in this recommendation? Because we have another category of marketing Odessa. And quite frankly, I've seen the drawings. I was with Austin Keith several times, and he was excited. By the way, let me holler at Mr. Civils. I hadn't seen him in a while. I mean, he's certainly a pillar of our community. But I was just wondering, were there other categories of funding that we fund from that could assist them also?
Mr. Collins, I'll address it. Legal and I, we did have a discussion about where this project fit into the NAICS codes, and there is only one that it fits into for the usage of the Type A funds. That's 51, and it's specifically libraries and museums, and it's in the law that we can use our funds for that. The marketing funds, 10% is all that we can use allocated on a yearly income. Our income's obviously down because sales tax is down, and most of those marketing funds are already allocated for other efforts and different things like that. So the availability, the amount out of the marketing would be the issue there. The other one is there's only one NAICS code that this actually fit into. So, and this was an area that the compliance felt comfortable with the amount. It was less than what they were asking. We understand that. But they felt like this was a good indicator of the support for the project, for the job creation and the capital investment into Odessa, and what it brings for the quality of life and other factors as we're recruiting folks to move and live and do business in Odessa.
Melanie, you have any
Mr.
comments?
Chairman, this is
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, this is Chris Crow. Can I ask Mr. Carroll a question? Would that be okay?
Mr. Who? Yes.
Robert Carroll.
Yes.
Yes, sir. So you said that this fit into the NAICS code 51, which comes in the category of information. Can you kind of expand on that a little bit? Because I was actually going to ask a question in reviewing the Texas Municipal League's economic handbook. If I apologize, let me get back to that page really quick. In my opinion, this really falls more under Type B tax funding. As a matter of fact, under sections 505.15 through 505.154 of the Act, which specifically permits expenses of Type B tax proceeds for land, buildings, equipment, expenses, and improvements suitable for the following types of projects. Item 2 is entertainment, tourist, and convention facilities. Entertainment, tourist, and convention facilities, including auditoriums, amphitheaters, concert halls, museums, and exhibition facilities, are permissible under Type B projects. Now, under that, the ODC could still possibly fund this project, but it would have to go to the taxpayers and the citizens of Odessa and have this put on a ballot and vote for it. So could you please clarify where you're finding that this fits under NAICS 51?
I can. So first, if you'll actually go look at the definition of a primary job, available at a company for which a majority of the products or services are ultimately exported to regional, statewide, national, and international markets, infusing new dollars into the local economy. and includes one of the following sectors, the North American Industrial Classification System, and it does fall under 51, but more specifically, if you look at 519120 of the NAICS, that falls under library or archive of things of historical significance. So that's where that fits in. So they are a library or archive of things of a historical significance. While yes, they would fall under a Type B project, they also, at least according to 501 of the government code, would also fall underneath creating primary jobs and infusing dollars back into the economy.
Thank you for that explanation. I just want to caution the board, please remember what ODC was originally created for. ODC is not a philanthropic organization, nor is it created to fund cultural organizations, entertainment and leisure activities. The city of Odessa has plenty of funding mechanisms that can do that. The ODC was originally created to diversify Odessa out of the oil and gas industry. And we see very little of that. As a matter of fact, to a lot of people, it seems that ODC has kind of been used as a personal piggy bank to fund a lot of different projects. And we kind of bend the rules a little bit to fund a lot of those projects. Not that I don't love the Illinois Art Museum. I think it's fantastic. My daughters have grown up in the Illinois Art Museum. I just want to caution the board that I really and truly don't think this is a permissible item that you can use for a tax dollars for when there's a specific category that falls under 4B.
Okay, thank you for your comments. And I think we'll go with,
Robert,
do what? Go ahead, Melanie.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like you to go through that one more time. Go through the justification and how it falls under an allowable NAICS code, just for us board members to hear one more time, because
Yes,
I know
ma'am.
that y'all spent some time on that.
Yes, ma'am. So you are allowed to spend money on projects which are going to create primary jobs. Primary jobs, that's under section, that's 501, more specifically 501.002 definitions, subsection 12, subsection A, and that's going to be section 1's going to read available at a company for which a majority of the products or services of that company are ultimately exported to regional, statewide, national, or international markets, infusing new dollars into the local economy, and are included in one of the following sectors of the North American Industrial Classification System. And if you're looking at the code, about 2/3 of the way down, you'll see 51, and that actually excludes motion picture theaters and drive-in motion picture theaters. But 51, and then more specifically than that, section 519120 of the NAICS, they would fall into the category of a library or archive of things of historical significance. They are an archive of historical significance, and so it would fit underneath that. I understand Mr. Crow's stance on that, but because there's not, just because there's a place in Type B to use those tax dollars does not mean that you don't have a place in Type A as well. I would just like to put forth that argument as well.
Okay.
Thank you, Robert. When this project came up, I had questions about it too, as to whether or not it was within what we are allowed to do. And I asked that question. It's my understanding, because I was not able to attend the compliance meeting, it's my understanding that it was discussed fully, and that as Robert's told us here, it is something that we are legally allowed to do. There's no bending of rules for this. Now, whether or not the board likes it as a project or thinks that it's what we ought to spend our money on, I think we should discuss that. But it's not accurate to say that this is not an allowable expenditure.
Okay. We need a motion to accept this if there's not any more discussion.
I move that we accept this resolution to enhance the Illinois Art Museum.
Okay, Melanie, have you got a second?
Is David still on?
No, we've lost David and Chris isn't on. It's you two, and so I need a.
Personally, I would prefer that we had our other board members available because this project is unusual.
Okay. So now, Robert,
So the motion has been made. If there's not a second, this motion dies.
can I second it as being the chair?
No, sir.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Can
Then
it be discussed at another meeting if it dies at this one?
If it dies at this one, we can just place it on the next agenda. And it can be discussed when the rest of the board is there. Yes. If there's no time limit, it doesn't die completely so that it can never be discussed again. Just this motion to approve this resolution as written, that motion dies.
okay, then I think it dies of a, Melanie, unless you guys, if you want to postpone, and I agree that, I wish we had Chris on here because he was at that compliance meeting, but that's here there. And as long as we can.
Hey,
so,
Tim.
yes.
Tim, I just joined the meeting. I just landed, okay. But I don't know where we're at with the meeting right this second.
I think what we're going to do here, and Mr. Chairman, I apologize for cutting in, and it looks like we need a motion to table this action and bring it up at the next meeting when the full board can be in attendance.
Would it be easy if I withdrew my motion?
It wouldn't matter either way, Mr. Collins.
Okay.
But I would suggest maybe you do withdraw your motion. Less minutes, I guess, for Norma.
Okay. Chris, to answer your question, we were discussing the Ellen Knoll Art Museum. And
okay.
Melanie had made the comment we wish we had, because it's just Melanie and Gene and I. We lost David today too, and we just now got you on. But unless you have something to add to that, I think with Gene withdrawing his motion, we need to table this and bring it up at the next meeting.
Yes, sir.
Sorry.
I would agree with that. I'm sorry, Melanie. I would agree with tabling it and bringing it up the next meeting.
Okay. All right. That's what we will do then.
Do they need a motion to do that, Robert?
Yeah. Can we get a motion to table, please?
Yes.
I move that we table this topic until the next meeting.
Okay.
And I'll second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? It passes. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, can I make one comment here? I just want to make sure that everyone understands how the staff works through these projects, that we get asked to make sure they would fit if possible and take them to compliance. And then we just recommend, express the recommendations of the committee. We don't get to vote at the compliance committee. We don't get to vote at the board level or the council level. So we're sort of just the messengers. And I hope everyone knows that, that until projects move either up or down, they can either just falter around here and not ever move, but they continue to circle. So we try to move things forward expeditiously, and that's what we've done on these projects. And I appreciate the comments from everyone. And I also really appreciate the board consideration and taking this to the utmost in order to allow every board member to have some input into this. I think that's important. So just want to make sure that y'all understood, and the extenuating circumstances of today, that our chair is at home and unable to attend the meeting because he did have every intention of being here to explain the committee's decisions.
Okay. All right. That gets us down to item number 9, discuss emergency assistance options. I'm not aware of any. Does any of the board members have anything they need to discuss there? Okay, and then the 10th item is update the task force report. We met with Kirk, myself and Wes and Craig met with Kirk and his group last week, and we were basically putting together a strategic ideas for going forward on the Permian Fuels America, and we've talked to everyone involved. We think when you get past next week and confirm who our new people are that we're contacting in Washington, D.C., and we'll have a extensive report at our next meeting on the task force. So are there any other comments or questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
So
moved.
moved.
All right, One and a second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed, same sign. We stand adjourned. Thank you very much. And I want to make sure we get to that compliance committee that we appreciate everything they're doing. We've had a couple of issues in this meeting. I stand behind our compliance committee. I stand behind our legal department and look forward to making sure we're making the right decisions. And anyone with any questions or concerns, that they get the opportunity to express those. So thank you very much, and we'll see you at the next meeting next month.
Thank you, Tim.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks all.